The Young and the Restless spoilers Wednesday, full episodes update October 2nd. In the grand halls of Genoa City, alliances were shifting, and loyalties were constantly tested. Jack Abbott, the patriarch of the Abbott family, found himself at a crossroads, needing to fortify his position amidst the tumultuous business landscape. His plan? To forge a new, unshakable alliance with Billy, his sometimes rebellious and unpredictable brother. But Jack knew Billy well. He knew that Billy would need more than a simple invitation to join forces. He needed someone Billy trusted, someone who could sway him to see the bigger picture. That someone was Phyllis Summers. Jack knew Phyllis had her own tangled history with Billy, but it was her razor-sharp instincts and ability to see through deception that made her indispensable. She had a way of exposing the truth, even when others couldn't or wouldn't see it. That's why Jack came to her now, hoping she would convince Billy to set aside his personal grievances and join the alliance. Together, they could become a powerful force, capable of outmaneuvering their rivals. But Phyllis, ever the shrewd strategist, had already uncovered more than Jack realized. She had peeled back the layers of Lily's facade, revealing the calculated manipulations Lily had been playing on Billy and the others around her. With her discoveries, Phyllis had not only gained Jack's trust but also the respect of the entire Abbott family. It was a move that made Diane, Jack's current romantic interest, green with envy. Diane couldn't help but feel threatened by the bond Jack shared with Phyllis, even if it was strictly professional, though the undercurrent of their past connection still lingered. Yet, as Jack wisely reminded himself, this wasn't about jealousy or romantic entanglements. This was business. There was no room for emotional distractions when the stakes were this high. Jack hoped that with Phyllis by his side, they could convince Billy to put personal matters aside and focus on the greater good. This was an opportunity for the Abbotts to secure their legacy and safeguard the company from outside threats. Meanwhile, on a more personal front, Daniel Romalotti was facing a nightmare of his own. His wife, Heather, had disappeared under mysterious and troubling circumstances. Daniel had kept a brave face for the sake of his daughter, reassuring her that her mother would return, that she was still alive somewhere out there. But deep down, Daniel knew the truth. He had already come to terms with the grim reality that Heather was gone, murdered. The weight of that knowledge was suffocating, and every day he bore the burden of lying to his daughter, trying to protect her from the unbearable pain of loss. It was an impossible situation for Daniel. He wanted to shield his daughter from the harshness of the truth, to give her some semblance of hope, but in doing so, he carried the guilt of not being honest with her. The worst part? The police seemed utterly indifferent to Heather's disappearance. Was it because Heather wasn't a high-profile woman? Was her life not valuable enough to warrant their full attention? The thought disgusted Daniel, but he refused to give up. "I will find out who did this," Daniel swore to himself, his fists clenched in frustration. "I will bring justice for Heather, no matter what it takes." But without the cooperation of the police, his mission seemed impossible. He couldn't rely on them to solve the case. They had written Heather off as just another missing person in a city that was already too full of tragedies. But to Daniel, Heather wasn't just anyone, she was his wife, the mother of his child. And though the authorities might have abandoned their search, he would never stop looking for the answers. The truth, however, was growing more elusive by the day. Sharon Newman, the only person who might have answers, had disappeared without a trace. Not even Nick or Mariah, the people closest to her, knew where she was hiding. Sharon had vanished into the shadows, her guilt weighing heavy on her soul, leaving Daniel and everyone else in limbo. Without Sharon's testimony or confession, Daniel's chances of finding Heather's body were slipping away. Every passing day felt like a lost opportunity, and a dark voice in the back of his mind whispered the worst-case scenario. What if Heather's body was already gone? What if it was too late? The murky waters of the river where Heather had been dumped were home to many creatures, and it was entirely possible that the remains of her body had already been consumed by nature. The thought was horrifying, but Daniel had to consider the possibility. Would there be anything left to recover, or had the river claimed Heather completely? The situation was dire. With Sharon in hiding and no new leads to follow, Daniel's hope was fading. How could he find justice for Heather when the very evidence he needed was slipping further from his grasp?
As Jack fought to secure his family's future and Daniel wrestled with his private anguish, it became clear that the interconnected lives of Genoa City's residents were spiraling toward even greater turmoil. Betrayals, secrets, and lies were building to a crescendo that threatened to unravel everything and everyone. For now, Phyllis held the key to a critical alliance, but the weight of her revelations about Lily and the strained dynamics between Jack and Diane would soon come to a head. And as Daniel continued his desperate search for answers, the question lingered: would Sharon resurface to reveal the truth, or had the secrets of Heather's murder been buried for good? Only time would tell. But for now, the people of Genoa City could only brace themselves for the storm that was yet to come. It's over, Kyle. I know about you and Summer. You're a liar and a coward. I was going to tell you I'm pregnant, but now it doesn't matter. I'm going to raise this baby on my own, and you'll never be a part of their life. Stay with Summer. Stay away from me and our child. You don't deserve to be a father. You don't deserve us. The message sent, Claire let out a shaky breath. She was heartbroken, yes, but she was also resolute. She wouldn't let Kyle's betrayal define her or her child's future. She would be strong. She would be a mother, even if she had to do it alone. Kyle, upon reading Claire's message, felt his world collapse. The woman he had betrayed was carrying his child, and now he had lost them both. He had made a terrible mistake, one he couldn't take back. But it was too late. Claire was gone, and there was nothing he could do to fix what he had broken. And so, Kyle returned to Summer, the woman he thought he wanted, but the weight of his choices would follow him for the rest of his life. The child he would never know, the woman he had betrayed, those were the consequences of his actions, and he would have to live with them. As for Claire, she moved forward, heartbroken but determined. She would build a new life for herself and her baby, free from the lies and betrayals of the past. It wouldn't be easy, but she knew she could do it. After all, she had no other choice. And as she looked ahead to her future, Claire knew one thing for certain. Kyle may have broken her heart, but he would never break her spirit.